Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome everyone in today's class for the first elementary grade. Our textbook is Weekend 1 and today inshallah we're going to cover Unit 4 Food Phonics Practice number 3 on page 37. This lesson will be presented by me, teacher Mazen Harbi, and the sign language by Mr. Fawaz Al-Agil. So let's begin. Quick revision on our last lesson. In our last lesson, we did learn 4 important words or 4 new words that starts with letters we're going to practice on later. And the first word was this one. And I would like you to listen to me and repeat this word again just to remind ourselves of how we can say this word. So the word here is octopus. Octopus. Say with me. Octopus. Octopus is a word that starts with letter O, and it is about an animal which lives in the sea. Octopus. Also, the other word we learned last time, which was this one. And also, it's about a bird that we all know of, a bird that will usually imitate us when we are talking. So let's remind ourselves of how to say this word. I'm going to say it and I would like you to say after me. Parrot. Parrot. Say with me. Parrot. Parrot. Very well. So parrot is a bird who usually imitates or trying to talk as we do. Also, the third word is that starts with the letter Q, which is quilt. Quilt. Say after me. Quilt. Quilt. So quilt is a word that starts with letter Q. And we're going to practice how we write and trace letter Q both in capital and also in small as well. And finally, the last word we did learn, which was this word, also about an animal which we all love. So let's again remind ourselves of how to say this word, and I would like you to listen after me. Rabbit. Rabbit. Say with me. Rabbit. Very well. So all of these 4 words, octopus, parrot, quilt, and rabbit. All of them are 4 new words that we learn, and what we say is the most importantly is that these words starts with letter O in octopus, and letter P in parrot, and letter Q in quilt, and letter R in rabbit. And we say that these letters are important for us when we write down and when we practice how to write down these letters. So, also what we did last time is that here we have 4 different words, and all of these words have or need 1 letter in order to complete them. So as you can see here we have number 1, and number 2, all of them has a missing letter, 1 missing letter. And as you can see here above, here we do have 4 different letters, which we need to match each letter with the appropriate word. So let's try to answer this question by listening and matching the words with the letters with their word. So the first word we have here is octopus. Octopus. And octopus, it starts with letter O. Octopus, that starts with letter O. Octopus. So this is octopus. What about number 2? What is the word for number 2? Let's listen and find out. Number 2, parrot. Parrot. So what do you think? Parrot. Which letter we should use for the word parrot? It is of course the letter P. Parrot. Parrot. And number 3, quilt. Quilt. So what do you think? Quilt starts with the letter Q. So here we go, and we write letter Q. Quilt. And finally, will leave us with the last letter here for this word, which is rabbit. Rabbit. And rabbit starts with letter R. So here we go. These were the answers of this question, where we did listen to 4 different words, and we start writing down the first letter of each word. And after this, we did an exciting exercise, which is to draw and count and write as well. When we say that, look at this animal, look at this octopus, and let's first try to draw. So I suggest that each one will choose a certain color and try to draw with this drawing. Try to color this drawing. And after you do this, now it is time to count how many arms does the octopus have. And after this, after we finish drawing and counting, we said that we have one thing left, which is to try to write down the missing letter so we can memorize and never forget the name of this animal, which is octopus, where we did write the missing letters of this word. So this is mostly what we did cover in our last lesson. Now, let's get to know our objectives in today's lesson. At the end of this lesson, we hope that you will be able to trace the first letter you hear and write it on the line. So we're going to do the fourth worksheet that we did practice 3 times before. And before to do this, I would like you to open your books on page 37. I would like you please to open your books on page 37. Now, on page 37, as you can see here, this is a worksheet number 4. And we're going to do as we did with the previous worksheet, which is we're going to listen to the letter and we're going to trace the letter, and also we're going to write down the letter as well. So we did practice different letters for this worksheet, the same worksheet we tried before, worksheet number 1, worksheet number 2, and number 3. And today we will do worksheet number 4, but with different letters. So let's first get to know the letters, and after this we will start our exercise. So the letters we're going to practice on today are P, P, Q, Q, R, R, S, S, T, T. Very well. So here we do have 5 different letters. And what we need to do with the exercise is that first we're going to listen how to say this letter, and after this we're going to trace the letter we heard, and after this we're going to go here on the line and write down the letter. So we're going to do 3 things with each letter. So let's start with number 1. In number 1, we're going to listen to the letter, and when we hear the letter, now we go to and do the second thing, which is to trace it. And after this, number 3, we're going to write it here on the line. So let's start with number 1 and let's listen to the first letter. The first letter is P. P. The first letter is P. So here we go to letter P and try to trace it. Try to trace letter P. Try to trace letter P. And after we do trace it, we go here and we write it on the line. We go here and we do write it on the line. We go here and we do write it here on the line like this. So this is letter P. This is letter P. Letter P. Now, after we do trace it and after we do finish writing the letter, now it is time for us to start listening to the second one. It is time we start listening to the second one. So here we go. This is how we write letter P. Letter P. Now, let's move on to the second letter. Now you're going to listen to a letter here, and after you listen, go trace the letter here, and after this, we write it here on the line. So number 2, the letter is Q. Q. So here we go to letter Q, and we start to trace letter Q like this. We start tracing letter Q. And after this, we go here on the line and start writing down the letter. We start writing down the letter Q. Letter Q. Letter Q. Now, let us move on to the third letter. The third letter here we're going to listen and trace and write down the letter as well. Number 3, the letter is R. R. Very well. So we go here and we trace letter R. We go here and we trace letter R, and after this, we do write it here on the line. We do write it here on the line. Letter R. Now let us listen. Let us go to number 4. Now let's listen to the fourth letter. The fourth letter is S. S. So here we go. We go here and we trace letter S. And after we do so, we go here and try to write it down here on the line. Try to write it down here on the line. Letter S. And let us move on to number 5. Number 5, the letter is T. T. So we go here and we trace letter T like this. And after this, we go here and we write it here on the line. We write it here on the line. Letter T. Now for number 6, we're going to listen to a letter that we already use, but just try to figure out which letter that is and trace it as well. So number 6, the letter is letter P. P. Letter P. So here we go. We trace it like this. And we go here on the line and write it down like this. Letter P. So here we go. This is how we did listen to this letter, trace these letters, and also write them down on the line. Now, let us move on to the second exercise we have for today. So here, it's a bit different. We're not going to listen to letters, we're going to listen to words. And here are the list of words that we're going to listen to. And what we want to do is to write down the first letter of these words. So let's first get to know these words, and after this, we start doing this exercise. The first word is pen. Pen. Say with me, pen. Pen starts with letter P. And the second word is quilt. Quilt. Quilt starts with letter Q. And the third one is rabbit. Rabbit. Rabbit starts with letter R. And number 5 is the fourth one, sun. Sun. Sun starts with letter S. And finally, tiger. Tiger. Tiger starts with letter T. So what we're going to do now is that we're going to listen to the word and we're going to write the first letter we hear from each of these words. So let's start with the first one. The first word is pen. Pen. And the first letter of the word pen is letter P. Letter P. So here we go, and we write down letter P. Let us move on to number 2. Number 2, the word is quilt. Quilt. So quilt starts with letter Q. So here we go, we do write letter Q, like this, Q. And number 3, the word in number 3 is rabbit. Rabbit. Rabbit starts with letter R. Letter R. So here we go, and we write the first letter, which is R. Number 4, sun. Sun. So sun starts with the letter S. So here we go. We write the first letter of the word sun. And finally, the last word we have is tiger. Tiger. Tiger starts with letter T. So here we go, and we write the first letter, which is letter T. Tiger. So here we go. This is how we can practice all of these 5 letters. Listening first, tracing, and after this, writing them on the line. Not only this, but also it is important that we memorize words for each of these letters. Like, for example, letter P, a word with letter P is pin, and with letter Q is quilt, and with letter R is rabbit, with letter S is sun, and finally with letter T is tiger. So now, it is important at the end of this lesson that we are able to trace the first letter we hear, and we try to write it down on the line. Not only for these 5 words, but even with the previous worksheets that we did practice on before. So now, my dear student, we have reached the end of our lesson. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you inshallah next time.